Hi and welcome back to our format One Coffee with MCM. Today with our second special guest, Professor Sonja Gensler. Thank you so much for your time and participation. Let's start with the questions.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Of course. We are here in your favorite cafe, and the name of our format is One Coffee with MCM. That leaves us all wondering, how do you drink your coffee in the morning?
Actually, I don't drink coffee in the morning regularly, but if I do so, with a lot of milk.
Okay, good to know. Me too. And why did you choose this place?
Actually, because it's close to my home, so it's convenient. It's a nice place.
Yes, I think so too. I've never been here before, but it's very, very beautiful. To better understand how your career began, what inspired you to enter the academic world and eventually become a professor?
Actually, this was the supervisor of my master thesis who asked me at the end of the thesis period whether I could imagine to pursue a PhD. My first answer was no. But then also the enthusiasm of my parents, having a PhD in the family, motivated me. And at the end, it was a gut feeling that this is the right way.
Okay. And you're happy, so
yeah.
Perfect. Following up on that, what sparked your interest in digital transformation and its impact on the market-oriented management?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually, I did my PhD at the first chair of electronic commerce in Germany. So it was a big hype at that time. So from my first steps on in the academic world, it was about digital transformation and the impact on companies. Mm-hmm. So this is probably the reason why I stepped into that area.
Okay, good to know. Building up on what you just said, how do you think digital marketing has evolved over the last 5 years?
When we look back to the last 5 years, and especially the last 2 years, I would say, it's artificial intelligence and everything related to that. It's not that artificial intelligence is really new and just popped up 2 years ago, but it's more prominent, and we see all the application of chatbots and so forth. I think that was the major change. Previously, it was much more about social networks, and now we are entering a new era of digital marketing.
Okay. Going further into that, in your opinion, how does societal change impact our modern marketing today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the question is, what is modern marketing? but that's a tricky part. I received this question earlier about modern marketing. I was wondering, what is old-fashioned marketing? But given that consumer preferences change, also the pressure from policymakers increases, I think we need to put more emphasis on responsible marketing behavior. Also taking into account not only the ecological impact of what we do, but also being responsible for social challenges we face today.
Okay, thank you. That's very nice input. Could you provide an example of a brand that has successfully implemented digital transformation?
Mm-hmm. Actually, when I received this question, first thing I did was asking ChatGPT to get a bit of inspiration, because I had a couple of examples in mind. ChatGPT's answer was Nike. And I thought this is a usual suspect, so I choose a different one. I recently wrote a paper with a colleague where we look back to digital marketing when it started and how it will progress. And we picked an example of Caterpillar. That's probably not the brand that first comes into the mind. It's the world-leading manufacturer of manufacturing equipment, actually. And what they do today is that they have sensors in all their equipment so that you can track them, that you get a warning if there is an issue with the equipment, and also they are interconnected. So a company, you can manage the equipment, and they also tell you when some of your equipment gets stolen.
Oh,
because
really?
when it moves outside a specific area, there's a warning.
That's insane.
So therefore, I think this is a bit a different example than Nike and getting closer to the customer.
Sure. Really, that's not something that comes to mind, but that's a very nice input. Thank you. You just mentioned that you were writing a paper with your colleague. Could you give us a few insights on projects or publications that you're working on right now? What can we expect in the next years?
So the paper I just mentioned, that's an invited paper. And there we kind of developed the idea that it will be much more about sequence solutions in the future. That solutions are important for consumers is not really a brand new idea. What is probably new is that we're not talking about a solution like providing a coffee, like a single product. But when we buy a coffee, we also want to relax and enjoy the coffee, have some time. So, and this is part of my journey throughout the day. So that companies should consider far more why consumers are buying certain products and what they contribute to their overall goals. So that's the idea. There's no specific research project related to that. That's nice when you have you're invited to write a paper, you can raise all kind of ideas. More specifically, 2 of our PhD students work at the intersection of public policy and marketing. So that's, one is related to, tax reductions to reduce, gender-based discrimination and whether this impacts the consumers. And the other one is about responsible monetization strategies in online gaming.
Okay, very different. That's a broad, broad horizon of topics. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the common line is the methodology, actually. Often it's a lot about the methodology you apply, and then the question is also important, but there's the storyline, let's say.
If you would like, could you explain a bit about the methodology for our students? I mean, I personally don't know much about it, and I think many of you don't know either.
Yeah, so my academic career started with a PhD focusing on statistics. So I'm really like methodology, and I moved into the field of econometrics. So policy evaluation is a lot about looking what happened before and after the policy was introduced. So the economics literature is very rich on that. And this kind of research now enters the marketing arena. So we see more of those papers.
Thank you. A question of a student was, and I think I'm interested in that as well. I mean, we always see the professors on stage at a lecture. Thinking about the Marketing Center, how does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day. So,
or do you have typical days?
Yes, I think so. Maybe not what I'm doing, but yeah, that's a typical day. So when I'm at the Marketing Center, I start around 7:30. So I'm more the early bird. And usually it starts with answering emails. Then it depends when if you have a lecture and when it is. So preparing the lecture, going to the lecture hall, then quite some administrative work, supervising then also students, and then at the end of the day, doing the research projects.
Oh, that's a very full day.
Yeah, but I really like to do the research when there's no other point ahead of me, so that I really have the time to work on it.
So no stress. Okay, that's very interesting. Overall, what attracted you to the University of Münster, and what do you enjoy most about working here?
Actually, before moving to Münster, we lived in the Netherlands. And when our son was born, we decided that we would like to move back to Germany, also because of the language and the school system. And then we applied at several schools in Germany, and Thorsten Miesel, who's my husband, got the job offer, and we got a package deal, and that's the reason why we decided to move to Münster.
Oh, that's awesome. And do you enjoy it here?
Yes, I do. So I had to get adjusted to Münster because I always say I'm a big city girl.
Okay.
And Münster was a bit too small for me, but now
I understand.
But now I think it's very convenient, especially with family.
Yeah, sure, I can imagine. And how is it compared to the Netherlands, living there or teaching?
It's pretty similar because we lived in Groningen for a couple of years, which has approximately the same size than Münster. It's also a university town. The structure of the university is different if you are a department member, but otherwise it's rather similar.
Okay, so that was easy.
So the transition was easy.
Okay, that's awesome. Somebody wanted to know if you can share any memorable experiences or achievements from your time here.
Yeah, that was actually a tough question. And I was wondering what to tell, but then the answer I have on my paper is different from the one I give to you now. I think one memorable experience was when I did a seminar on non-profit marketing and fundraising, and there was one student in a group doing a project related to fundraising for non-profit organizations. And after the seminar, she came to me and she said, yes, you completely changed my life, because I was studying business administration, not sure what to do with it, because I do not want to be in a big company. And I know what I want to do. So she...
What a compliment.
She applied at a non-profit organization, is still there, and is still in fundraising. So this is then nice to have such an impact.
Really, a bit of goosebumps. That's very, wow, that's deep. Another question from a student. What advice would you give to new students here at the university to make the most of their whole university experience?
Okay, so be open.
Yeah.
Take the opportunity to learn, and thereby I do not mean learn slides by heart, but actually really dive into the topics to find out what interests you the most and what you want to do. And finally, build relationships for life.
That's very good advice. If my information is correct, you are a visiting scholar at Columbia Business School. I think many are wondering what experiences from that time shape you the most. Anything that stuck to mind?
Actually, this was part of my, let's say, career development path. It was said that it's good if you spend some time in the US, especially. So, and I was not really keen on going to these. So finally I decided either I go to New York or San Francisco, and then it was New York. But it was the best time in my life.
Really?
Because being part of such a well-known department, university, it felt a bit like I grew probably to 2 centimeters.
Yeah.
But the research environment there is very vibrant. You have a lot of talks. All the professors are really, they focus much or can focus much more on research than they can here in Germany. Because they have less administrative tasks. But probably the best thing was being an inhabitant of New York City and not just a visitor.
I can only imagine. That's very, very cool. We talked a lot about the work now. And now someone was wondering, what do you do in your free time to relax when there's no university?
And that's a tricky question because I do not have a Monday to Friday job. We usually also work during the weekends, but that's fine because I simply like the freedom to work when I want to work.
Yeah.
If I really want to relax, I cook. Cooking is my hobby.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. If one looks back at your career, or if you look back on your career, what advice would you give to your younger self, being a fresh student?
Just do it and care less about what others think about you.
Okay. And we're already at our last question. What advice would you give to students here who want to pursue a career in digital marketing?
I think it becomes more and more important that you're familiar with the technology so that you have a good understanding of the technologies. And data analytics becomes more important. So that's something I really like. And I know that students are usually not so keen on statistics and all the methods related to it. But using all these technologies effectively requires that you're able to evaluate the effectiveness, and therefore you need some understanding of the methods how to do that.
Okay, thank you. That are very nice last words. And that's already it. Please make sure if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, put them in the comments. And thank you so much for your time and patience trying out this new format with us. And see you until next time.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.